Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is Twid Radio. Twid stands for That's What I Do. And if you're living and breathing, you're doing something. Today we're going to be talking about politics. On my show, I like to focus on 5 different categories: faith, beliefs, uh, common sense, manhood, and religion. It's 5 core topics to life, in my opinion. You can do, uh, you know, you need all of them except the religion. Except the religion. But I don't know if any of you are familiar with Summer Lee. She's a politician. Let me go look up my info that I wrote down. Yeah, she's elected first Black woman to Congress. Let me turn my mic up to make sure. I think we're good. So yeah, she was elected first Black woman to Congress for Pennsylvania back in 2018. So she's been, you know, in a position of power for quite some time. That's not a good thing for us as Black men. You know, my broadcast isn't about, bashing my people, but I will, hold my people's feet to the fire when they do wrong, and I'll applaud them when they do right. Simple as that. I don't let no other group of no other nation of people, do my people wrong. So why would I let my own people? Nah, I'm not having it. When I see it, I'm gonna call it out, as we should. That's what makes us stronger as a group of people. Iron sharpeneth iron. But before I get to her, as you can, let me put my ticker up. As you can see, if you haven't gotten any, go to www.twidword.com, support the brand. As you can see, the title says Summer Lee defends DEI for everyone but Black men. Now, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is and I'm just going to give you the definition of DEI. DEI is a concept and practice used by organizations to recognize and value differences among people, ensure fair opportunities for everyone, and foster a work environment where all feel welcome and respected. Now, that should sound like something, right? It should. Affirmative action. Let's read the definition of affirmative action. And you can kind of judge based on your own knowledge and hearing and your own, idea as to, how closely related they are. In my opinion, it's like a left wing and a right wing. It's still a wing. Affirmative action, therefore, means taking positive steps to end discrimination, to prevent its recurrence, and to create new opportunities that were previously denied minorities and women. So, of course, we understood years, 20, 30 years, maybe a little longer than that. We've just come to understand in recent, time as to the impact of the word minority and what it actually did to our community. Because it did what it's supposed to do, honestly, which was nothing. And that's fine. As Black people, we should be trying to help ourselves. And that's why I want to focus in on this, our sister, Summer Lee. She's 36. She's young. She's the first, woman, Pennsylvania. So you would think when our people become the first to do this or that is going to be beneficial to our people. But I would come to learn that whenever you hear Barack Obama, the first of us doing anything, of significance, it turns out to be nothing. You know what I'm saying? It turns out to be something for everybody else, but for us, it turns out to be nothing. Unlike Trump, if you notice, they're complaining because everybody is white. Can you blame him? That's who he hang around. That's who he deal with. He do business with white people, you know? And if he was to give a black person, I guess, some type of position, what type of position you think you're going to get? It's going to be something that you're probably not going to appreciate, or you're going to ask, well, why did you only, I mean, come on. We got to get out of that mindset of somebody's supposed to give us. No. Nobody has to give us anything. We've got people in positions of power to speak on our behalf. The question is, why aren't they doing it? But I want you to listen to this sister right here and just see. I want you to see with your own eyes and your own ears how detrimental and dangerous it is when our women, and I just got to say it, when our women get into power. They all have striking similarities, just glaring similarities in terms of how they act and how they move when they get in a position of power. But if you don't believe me, let's see for yourself.
Yeah, Ms. Lee, you recognize.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not in favor of the Dismantle Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Act, or what it maybe would more aptly be called the dismantling any semblance of support or opportunity for certain American acts. We know who those Americans are. Americans who have not enjoyed centuries of unfair advantages by keeping others enslaved or segregated or disenfranchised or incarcerated or redlined or
Now she's saying redline and incarcerate. She's talking about mass incarceration. Who is she talking about? Is this just a broad statement? It can't be, because she's referring to a group of people. But these people that she's referring to, that you know what I'm saying, that fit these categories, it sounds like black men. It sounds like it. Let's keep going.
gerrymandered or excluded by law. Americans who've lived with disabilities or had their relationships criminalized or their gender expression demonized. If we're being honest here, this bill would.
Now, she just, if you caught that, she said, let's go back. I want you to hear what she said. She's being specific with who she's talking about.
Or incarcerated or redlined or gerrymandered or excluded by law. Americans who've lived with disabilities or had their relationships criminalized or their gender expression demonized.
Gender expression demonized. Okay, so she's talking about a specific group of people.
If we're being honest here, this bill, which will wipe out every diversity, equity, and inclusion program in our federal agencies, plus those who contract with us, plus those who receive grant money, plus our schools, is nothing new. This is just the final piece of a decades-long obsession with targeting and dismantling anything that might give marginalized people a fair shot, including DEI programs, which honestly started the second the Civil Rights Act.
So she said marginalized people, and then she connected that to the Civil Rights Act. Now, the Civil Rights Act, from what I remember, was for a specific group of people. Men and women, but it was for a specific group of people, black people. It's really not that hard to just say specifically, just like you said, specifically the queer. I guess I'm just waiting for her to say black men. Is that wrong? Okay.
Passed. Policies like affirmative action and diversity, equity, inclusion are the closest things we've had to the mythical bootstraps that some of my colleagues insist historically and currently harmed communities need to pick themselves up at. After centuries.
Okay, so what community have they ever said you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I've never heard Italians, Jews, whites, of course. I've never heard Hispanics. I've never heard Asians, Chinese, Japanese. I've never heard any group over here say by another group, by the dominant society, that you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Only one group of people that fit this mold, that fit that right there, that saying. Only one group of people.
Centuries of efforts to keep us out of schools and universities, from jobs and elected office. Republicans targeting these policies are no accident. Why do predominantly conservative white men believe that the success of a black person or the opportunity or access of a black person is an existential threat to them? D.E.I is not given any.
Now, did she mean when she said, why do black men feel as though it's an existential threat? Is she talking about black men and black women? Or just black? Don't say black men. Just, okay, well, maybe that's fine. She don't have to say black men right now. Maybe but just don't say black women. Just keep saying black people. And we'll just assume you're talking about black men and black women together. Let's see.
Any unfair advantage that society itself does not already confer on certain Americans. It merely exists to ensure that all other people, that women, minoritized folks, queer folks, disabled folks, have this.
Wait. She said women, queer folks. Let's go back a little bit.
D.E.I is not given any unfair advantage that society itself does not already confer on certain Americans. It merely exists to ensure that all other people, that women, minoritized folks, queer folks, disabled folks, have.
Women, okay. So what? Women, so is the minoritized folks the black men? Is that the safe word for saying black men? Because it really can't be, because minorities is for just about anybody now. Okay, well, let's keep going. Maybe she will say black men. She's saying queer.
Have the same opportunities to succeed and thrive in our workforce and our schools as people who have not had those opportunities systematically and legally stripped from them do. Is our country not greater when all of us have opportunities to succeed and contribute and survive? Our success and our survival as a nation is bound together. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs only exist to band-aid over decades, hell, centuries of discrimination against people's skin color, their religion, disabilities, gender, or sexual orientations, you name it.
No, ma'am. No, sexual orientation. See, here she goes again with the word salad. She's literally putting everybody in with us. When you're centuries, who do you know? What group of Chinese, Hispanics that you know what I'm saying, have faced centuries of discrimination in this country, on this soil? Who, ma'am? But maybe she'll still slip up and say black man.
Contrary to Republican conjecture, remedying past discrimination is not in turn a discrimination. And we're not going to sit here and pretend racism is over just because one black person on the Supreme Court agreed that it should be. What D.E.I does not do is give some kind of magical pass to better jobs, like some of our colleagues are implying. That middle word, equity, does not mean more than or better than. It means treating people fairly and impartially. It means working to fix generational and systemic discrimination to the betterment of all of us. And
you catch that? Let's go back. Let's go back. She said generational, but she tied it to some stuff I'm not familiar with.
Mean more than or better than. It means treating people fairly and impartially. It means working to fix generational and systemic discrimination to the betterment of all.
Generational and systemic, is tied to one group of people. Ma'am, you're saying to all. No, generational and systemic. There's only one, and she's a black woman. This is the scary thing. This is the thing that's most disconcerting. She's a black woman in a position of power who seems to have an issue specifically addressing the oppression of black men. I've heard her say pregnant women, queer, and she's connected that to systematic, generational words that don't even fit the queer, don't even fit the pregnant woman, the disabled. This is why we don't vote for our people when they get in power. Because when they get in power, they do an about face, they become turncoats, and they do what this lady right here do. They just do whatever they can do to keep from saying anything about black men, the benign neglect. They're carrying that out better than the white man who started it.
All of us in all of our institutions. But instead, Republicans are trying to bastardize the term DEI to be a slur. When Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was up for confirmation and when Vice President Harris was added to the ticket, they called them DEI hires. They want you to believe that a Harvard graduate with over 20 years of experience, who happens to be a black woman, is not qualified, but a personality.
Oh, okay. So Ketanji Brown, you just couldn't say Ketanji Brown. You just couldn't say her accomplishments. You just couldn't say how long she's been, you list all of her accolades and then you say she just happens to be a black woman. Not to mention a black woman who couldn't even define what a woman was. But you can mention she was a black woman. Well, you know what? Maybe she'll mention that, something about black, specifically black men. Let's see.
Is qualified to run the Department of Defense, and the WWE executive is qualified to run the Department of Education. Let's be real. There is an attempt to create a direct correlation between our race, being a black person, and our qualifications. So much to say that there is no way to be a
Did you catch that?
Person in our
Let's go back. Catch that.
To run the Department of Education. Let's be real. There is an attempt to create a direct correlation between our race, being a black person, and our qualifications.
She said a black person, and then she went to our qualifications. Now, when she's saying black person, is she talking about, I'm supposed to assume that she just lumps black men and black women? Please. Serious? Why is it so hard for this woman to specifically speak about the atrocities, about the oppression, about the systematic racism and killings of black men? But she'll talk about the demonization of queer relationships. She'll say queer. She didn't say the demonization of certain relationships. She said specifically queer. See, this is what's so dangerous when you're talking about our women who are in power. They do us a disservice, and they don't even realize it, or maybe they do.
So much to say that there is no way to be a black woman. There is no resume that
let's go back. He said black woman. Maybe she'll say black man after she say black woman.
Correlation between our race, being a black person, and our qualifications. So much to say that there is no way to be a black woman. There is no resume that a black person could have that would qualify in favor of the Dismantle Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Act. Or
let me go back.
There is no resume that a black person could have that would qualify them unless that black person is a Republican. A black person. There is an attempt to create a direct.
I'm trying to hear. Maybe she's going to flip black man in there. I'm trying to hear it, y'all.
Correlation between our race, being a black person, and our qualifications. So much to say that there is no way to be a black woman. There is no resume that a black.
He said black woman. You would think after she stated black woman, she would then say black man. Let me go back just a little bit. I'm almost done, y'all. Let's go. Maybe after black woman, she should say black man, but I think I heard her say black person.
Direct correlation between our race, being a black person, and our qualifications. So much as to say that there is no way to be a black woman. There is no resume that a black person could have that would qualify them unless that black person is a Republican. And there is a quota there. And while all of this has happened at the top level of our government, I can promise you these same things are happening on every single level of government and private sector. But those people don't have a national platform to speak out against discriminatory treatment. Where is a federal worker supposed to turn when
she's asking where is a federal worker supposed to turn? She's focused on federal workers. Okay.
Another coworker says a racist comment to them in the break room. Where is the same-sex couple who is...
She just now mentioned and states the same-sex couple.
Denied housing supposed to, because of their relationship, supposed to turn. Where is a pregnant woman?
This is coming out of her mouth, y'all. Listen, I'm just playing the tape. This is coming out of her mouth. You're black men, you're seeing this come out of her mouth. She's not done. Maybe she'll put us in here somehow. Maybe she'll crowbar us in here somehow.
Who was fired for being pregnant supposed to go. Often the only place that they have to give them recourse are the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. These folks just want to do their jobs, serving the American people in an environment that feels safe and supports them. Making work a better, safer environment for some does not mean it automatically is worse for others. And those complaining about D.E.I training are probably the ones who need it the most. My Republican colleagues got to stop punching down on already marginalized communities and face their own fears.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. They're not punching down. They're not punching down. And if they are, they're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to. What you just did was punch down on every black man. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones that you're related to. Because not one time in this 4.5, almost 5-minute speech where you were given the floor, did you recognize or say anything specifically about black men? Now, that reminds me of a woman who ran for president not too long ago, who said out of her own mouth, no, I'm not going to specifically do anything for black people. And that is why she lost. And this is why black women, in my own opinion, y'all need to get somewhere, sit down, and if you're not going to speak for the black man, who are you speaking for? We should be priority number one. We should be. Don't believe the hype. We still take care of our women. We still take care of our kids. We ain't never stopped. Even when the government came into our private spaces, even when the government came in by law, you know what I'm saying, and was hanging us, we've always been there. We've never been perfect, and we never will be. But no other race of men are perfect either. But for our women to get into a position of power and do an about face on us, this is the Democratic Party led by black women and gay men. But this is what y'all have asked for, and this is why you lost. And you're going to keep losing. Why? Because in your mind, see, this type of woman, she's married to her career. She's 36. She'll probably never desire to be married. Fannie Willis, look at these women. They get in a position of power. Tiffany Henyard. All these women getting in a position of power to do what? You're not bringing that back to the home. You don't have a home. There's no man there. So what use are you other than rubbing shoulders with people who have power? See, the white woman, you know what I'm saying? That woman you was talking about from WWE, the McMahon lady, she been with her husband for 30-some years. Probably longer than that. Yeah. She's established. She's in politics. She's a career woman, but only because she's, you know what I'm saying, older, and only because her husband led the way. Nah. She wasn't, she's not about to, Trump put her in a position. She's not about to leave her husband because she's in a position. They only tell our women, that it's best for you to be single. It's best for you to go get the power. You can't, black women, listen, you can't do anything for your community if you're not going to be subject, which is to be submitted to a man, your husband. That's your covering. You can forget it. You'll just be a pawn. I can't even think of any successful black women who are really doing something worthwhile that's not married in politics. And the ones who are married, more than likely, they're married to a man who pretty much, it's an arrangement. It's business. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it out of her, her own mouth, and she's typical. When they get to that level, they're not thinking about the black man. They could care, unless you're gay. I'm married to a woman. Yeah. But hey, we got to keep fighting a good fight of faith, because black men, we've got to get back, to our rightful position of power, which is to be the head. And I got another video coming soon about Tyrese Gibson, and it's going to be a follow-up on this right here, because as men, we've got to be men. Like I said, there's 5 things I focus on: faith, belief, manhood, what's the 4th one? Common sense, and religion. You need all the first 4. You can get rid of the religion. Till next time, I'm out.